On to the January 10th, 2019 meeting of the Burlington Conservation Commission. As always, the first item on the agenda is citizens' time, so if someone would like a little time to talk about an issue, just raise your hand. All right, so you get the center stage. First thing you do is simply identify yourself, who you're affiliated with or associated with, or what you're associated with, and then the floor is absolutely yours.
All right, my name's Devon Shaw. I'm associated with the Bad Band.
I'm Ricky Vidum. We're just part of a group trying to better our community through bettering the environment, I guess.
Okay, you can put the microphone a little closer so it carries, so everybody can hear you.
That's better.
All right, okay, the floor is yours.
We have a copy of the revised bylaw just in case if you wanted to see it.
Okay, so why don't you, for people who are not following it, why don't you give like a couple of minutes summary of what this is about and stuff like that. I know what it's about,
Yeah.
and some of the people in the commission know what it's about, but the people at home who you want their support may not know what it's about.
Right. The purpose of the bylaw we're trying to pass at January town meeting is to reduce the number of single-use plastic bags that are being used, discarded, and littered, and to promote the use of reusable bags by retail establishments in the town of Burlington. And so for a little bit over a year now, we've just been trying to pass this bylaw, which would prohibit retailers from distributing single-use plastic bags because those are really harmful to the environment since they end up on the roads and when in water, they'll decompose into microplastics. And we're trying to better the environment and also make the town look better because they're pretty disgusting. And we have a really progressive town which is advancing into like really nice looking businesses like the District and Third Ave. And I'm sure we don't want to have plastic littering the trees, and we don't want the Burlington Bear like choking on a plastic bag, right? So pretty much the approach we've taken to solve that issue is to have all retail establishments in Burlington ban single-use plastic bags and promote the use of reusable bags because they're more environmentally friendly.
Right, and how do you propose to get this into a bylaw initiative? When is this going to be on the ballot, or?
This will be on the town meeting ballot on January 28th.
January 28th of this year?
Of this year, yep. So in September, we got postponed to January. We revised our bylaw, and we were put on to the ballot on for January 28th town meeting.
The town meeting?
Town meeting.
Does it have to go any further than that, or?
No, that's going to be the end of the road.
Okay, and then if they pass it favorably, then it's implemented?
Yes.
When would it take effect?
It'd take effect 120 days after passing, which I'm pretty sure will end up being May 28, 2019.
Right. And how popular is this around the state?
Around the state, 85 other cities and towns in Massachusetts have already done this. Around a third of all Massachusetts is underneath the bag law. And the state's even been trying to pass a statewide bylaw which would ban single-use plastics. But we're taking our step before just in case the state doesn't actually end up going through with that, which it's a little iffy right now, but that's why our town needs to do it.
I know the commission gave you support. Have you gotten support from others around town?
Yeah, we went to go talk with just normal community residents last April, and through that little survey, we found that a lot of people were in favor of it. We've been trying to contact some businesses, and they are in favor of it, majority.
Mostly are in favor. Some are neutral. Of course, some are opposed. But yes, the majority are very for it.
And we've contacted numerous committees like Consevation Commission. We spoke with the town selectmen a little while ago. And yeah,
We've been on multiple interviews on BCAT. We've been put into a couple news articles online. So I think we're trying to get this word spread around.
I see. Did the selectmen render an opinion yet?
They have not.
They refrained from a vote.
They're what?
They refrained from a vote when we
refrained from the vote?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So let's see if anybody has comments. First I'll go, John, do you have any comment on this?
I think it's great. I hope you're successful. I live in Wilmington. We passed a ban last year, and it's just going into effect. Also, I went Christmas shopping at Kohl's in Burlington this year, and I noticed the day I was there, they were using all paper bags. They weren't using plastic, which is, it's not as good as reusable, but it's certainly better than the plastic. So I hope you're successful.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right. Jen, any comment on it?
I have a question, actually. If the bylaw passes, will there be like a fine for groups that aren't compliant?
Sure. So the first offense, if they are found using plastic bags, will be a warning. The second will be a $25 fine, and the any subsequent offense will be $50.
Yeah.
Good job, good work.
Thank you.
Okay.
I just commend you guys for sticking with it.
Thank you very much.
Don't give up, just keep driving forward with it. You got a lot of people that'll support you.
Thank you.
All right, Bill.
You mentioned that the possibility of Massachusetts having a statewide ban. Are there any other statewide bans that actually have passed that you're aware of?
I haven't found.
I haven't really heard of them. I know California.
I'm not surprised that that would be the first, yeah, okay.
California has a statewide
Okay.
bag law.
So,
It's
good,
the only one I know off the top of my
Yeah.
head.
good, thanks. I agree, it's a terrific effort that you're putting in, and I think it's a good cause.
Thank you.
Okay, Indra?
Yeah, good job, very good job, and you have our support, and I hope it passes.
Thank you very much.
All right, so the purpose of being here tonight, besides getting this before the public again, is you have a revised copy of
Yeah.
it, and that's to give that out tonight. Is that what it is?
Yeah. Would you like?
Okay, give us a copy. Okay, are you talking to town meeting representatives at all? You have one right here.
Yeah, we have a list of a bunch of town meeting members, and we're gonna start emailing them again, asking sending out a lot of emails saying this is kind of come up on the warrant. We're gonna send out a fact sheet, and we have this a group of a few town meeting members, and like Andy Bean, Nick Priest, Martha Simon, and Miss Vidum, sorry, Vicky. Yeah, so we've been doing a little bit of talking with them, and so yeah.
You have time, you might want to give a couple of calls, too. Sometimes town meeting representatives don't always get very many calls, and they tend to sort of take notice if they happen to get a call from somebody on it,
Definitely.
so. Okay, very good. So we'll take that piece of paper,
Yeah.
and thank you very much.
All right, thanks for having us.
All right, we wish you every success on this.
Yeah, good luck.
We'll see you at town meeting.
Definitely.
Pass that to the office, and perhaps, John, you could distribute that? Maybe it could be scanned and sent to us
Sure.
at some point? Okay.
I'll do it tomorrow.
Okay, so next on the agenda is approval of minutes, December 13th. Anyone have any objection to it?
Not at all.
Motion to approve?
So moved.
Second?
Second?
All in favor?
He was not here, so I abstained.
I think we have to abstain because we weren't here.
You want to abstain too?
Yeah,
Even though
All right.
I reviewed them,
we watched.
302.
but, yeah.
Okay. All right, now we're on item 4A. Notice is given. The commission will hold a public meeting, a request for determination of applicability. It's filed by NSTAR Electric and Eversource Energy. The commission will be taking information related to the proposed installation of two steel structures within the 100-foot buffer zone to bordering vegetative wetlands and riverfront area of a locally regulated stream at the utility right-of-way off Wind Street in Burlington, and thereafter issue a determination. The application's being heard pursuant to Mass General Law, Chapter 131, Section 40, the Wetlands Protection Act, in Burlington, bylaw Article 14. The application materials available in the Conservation Office for any public review. Good evening.
Hi, I'm Chris Fox with Eversource Energy, and kind of here to discuss our application and to kind of give an overview of the entire project, and then these portions, these two poles, which are, outside the kind of the bounds of what normal maintenance would be. So we filed an RDA I guess I'll go back to the entire project is a replacement of the existing static wire, which is on the top of the lines, with OPGW, which is optical grounding wire. Has the same purpose of grounding, but also has a communications component, so stations can talk to each other between.
I see.
So most of it's maintenance, but we have a couple new structures that are within the buffer zone, the 100-foot buffer zone, but also within the local riverfront area. And so we took a walk with John, and I forget the name of your other administrator. Are you?
Eileen.
Okay, yeah, and Eileen. And took a look at the site. So we've got 2 poles. One's within about 35 feet of the wetland, and the other one is a little farther, 35 to 40. They're both direct, what's called direct embed structures. So they drill a hole, install the pole, and then backfill around it. It's the total impact is probably about 3 feet in diameter. So you're looking at 2 3-foot diameter in sort of impacts within the buffer zone and within the riverfront area. So I guess I can kind of point them out here. This so this is a junction in the 211, 503, 504 line, which is northeast of Wind Street. And then, west of Sierra Way. So the junction is kind of where we need to add the additional structures in order to connect the grounding wire coming this way with the grounding wire coming this way. There's a lot going on at this corner. So the decision was made to add some new structures and bring the optical grounding wire down to these new structures and then up to the existing structures again, away off the structure of the parcel. There are other structures that are part of the project, but they're outside the regulated areas. A couple of structures here, these structures are actually going to be replaced. Some of this other work, you'll notice the rare species polygon is within the rare species polygon. We have surveyed those, and we're working with NHESP to make sure that we're not impacting those. They're a plant, and most of the population is actually over in this area. Trying to think if there's anything else. So one thing that John had asked for, he indicated that because we're in the locally regulated riverfront area, that you might be interested in having us go through a sort of verbal alternatives analysis. So, our main constraints are the right-of-way boundaries for where we put these structures. They have to add structures because in order, you can't, with all the other stuff going on at this junction, you can't run the lines over and make that connection. So the plan is to run them down to these structures and then connect up to the existing ground wire there. We looked at some different configurations of structures. Originally, the structures came out in the wetland, and we were able to move this one back out and then move it even farther. But at this point, we were kind of straining how far we can run the wire underneath and make our clearances. Aside from that, I would think that the only other option would be to go underground, but it would be cost-prohibitive to do that in this case with all the other stuff in the ground. You're looking at connecting these structures to these out here, and so you'd be trenching this whole area if you did that. And I think that's pretty much covers all the options for alternatives. So we're looking for, given the limited impact to the buffer zone, we don't feel that it'll impact the interests of the act or the town bylaw, and so we're looking for a negative determination for this project.
Okay, very good. We'll see what the comments are, see if you have any questions, and then we'll just move forward.
Okay.
All right, so John or Eileen, comments?
So the work is obviously within the right-of-way, most of which, where the poles themselves are going is already a fairly disturbed area. It's not vegetated, it's pretty gravelly. There's a lot of vegetation out there, but the specific locations, it won't require a lot of clearing of vegetation, some shrubs at one of the poles, and none, I think, at the second. They're not proposing any tree removal for the poles, although it's not entirely clear to me that when they run the wires from the poles to the existing poles, that some trees may not need to be removed or trimmed at the very
It would
least.
definitely be heavy trimming along that basis. We thought to take this line back to,
Right.
the overhang trees back.
Right. So the distinction between this and other tree cutting activities that they do frequently is this is not a maintenance activity, so these are new structures. Everything else that they do on an annual basis that involves a lot of tree removal is maintenance work, and so that's exempt from the Wetlands Protection Act and the bylaw, because these are new structures outside the actual footprint of the existing structures. It's not exempt, and they filed the RDA. When they filed, they weren't familiar with the local regulation of the stream, so they thought it was strictly a buffer zone project. So I did point out the fact that it's within riverfront, but I don't think that the project will have substantial impact to the buffer zone or the riverfront area. The endangered species is not a wetland species, so it's not a filing. So if it were a wetland species, it would probably have required a notice of intent, but it's an upland species, so it's handled directly with the Natural Heritage and Endangered Species Program.
I guess also, just to add to what he had said.
Yes.
We also have an agreement with NAGSP that for our maintenance activities, they provide us with a lot of information so that and a list of sort of guidelines. And so if we are in X plant, we do this. If we're in, X animal, we do this, So it's a lot of our maintenance program is guided by that, it's work that we call it O&M plan work. We have an operations and management plan. Says we're going to do all this type of work, and they indicate what we need to do.
I'd also be remiss if I didn't point out that this particular plant population was discovered by former Commissioner Mary Lee Everett.
I remember when that happened. And the location was not to be revealed
Right.
at the time?
Not the exact location, right?
Exact location, okay. All right, Indra, anything further?
How long will it take to complete the work?
It'll probably take, the buffer zone work, I would say a week, given given time for, weather or anything. But, typically they can drill and install a structure in a day with good conditions, but, just giving account that there may be issues with equipment or having to do other work at the same time. This area will probably be disturbed for about a week or so. The plan is to add sediment controls along the edge of the wetland there.
When do you want to start that work?
This is scheduled for, I believe it's April.
Now, I didn't understand their alternative. You said the alternate.
Yeah.
Is that the one you are not doing because of the money, because of the cost?
Yeah, to do it underground, they did, that's the only other alternative, honestly, that I can think of, other than moving structures around to avoid resource areas, which is what we did. That's typically part of the process. The engineers say, this is what we want to do, and then we take a look at it in environmental affairs and say, well, can you move this out? Can you move this over? Can we do this with temporary impacts instead of permanent? So that's kind of the solution that we came up with, is just getting them out of the way and limiting the size as much as possible.
All right, Bill?
The structures you're putting in, it's a single pole, right? It's like a monopole, you call it. So it's not another whole tower being put in. Is it as high as the towers, or how is it compare in
It's
height?
going to be shorter because the purpose is to run these underneath. So it should be shorter.
But I thought it was going to be a grounding wire that is on the top of the wires. I'm a little confused.
Yeah, so this is, yeah, right. And typically they're on top, but to make this connection to the grounding wires here, for whatever reason, they couldn't run over what's underneath. So, yeah, in this section, it must be that, and again, I'm not an engineer, but in this section, for whatever reason, that's not going to have an effect on the purpose of it.
Okay, but
This is lower.
so the rest of from tower to tower beyond this site,
Yep,
it's going to have this new,
yeah,
basically a shielded optical cable
yeah,
at the highest level, and that still acts as the lightning controlling feature?
yep.
Okay, and then it's just going to come down for the connection here?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, I
Yeah,
understand
It comes down
that.
at the subs, it'll come down at Woburn Substation is the other end, the
Yep.
other terminus. This will end here, there actually, I think there is some wire up that way from past work. And then this section actually might not happen till much later. At that point, we'll be sending out another maintenance notification, but
Right. But replacing that existing wire would be maintenance in those areas because it's not a new pole?
Yep.
Okay, thank you.
If I may ask one question.
Yes.
What's the diameter of the monopole?
So the pole itself is probably 2 feet, but the casing, if you look at the diagram, the actual casing at the bottom, they put essentially a piece of culvert pipe in. That'll be 3 feet in diameter, so that's how we're calculating the impact, is the base of it.
So as you dig, you're gonna put that casing?
Yeah, so drill the hole, put in the casing, put the pole in, and then backfill with stone around the pole. And then that's kind of
Yeah.
creates the.
Because I see that you're digging about 8 to 10 feet.
Yeah,
That's what I was thinking, that what you're gonna put.
yeah.
Okay, thank you.
That's the current standard, you know, a lot of the old ones, you'll find old ones that are just a pole in the
Yeah.
ground, you know, but that's not.
Yes, thank you.
Okay. Ed?
Nothing that I would want to add, but just curiosity, is it the residents there along there, any impact to them at all? As far as any complaints you might have received?
I haven't received any, should we be prepared for some?
I heard that.
We haven't received any, I mean, I guess the benefit for them is that we don't need to do any clearing on this side, but, or over in here. But yeah, I mean, they'll definitely be trimming along here up to the edge. This easement line is estimated, you know, it's not the survey.
All right, Jen?
No.
All right, I just have two questions. John, are you convinced that they minimized it reasonably, the impact to the wetlands? Based on you being out there looking at the locations? You are? Yes. Answer is yes. And second, is any restoration of the area needed at all?
Well, anything that's disturbed will be restored. I mean, I can see, you know, usually there's a ring around the
Yeah.
installation, that type of thing. We don't need to build access, there's good access in here, so.
I was thinking of damage from heavy equipment.
Well, if it occurs, typically we'll seed and hay, that's.
Okay, all right.
With a conservation mix.
All right, that's fine, thank you.
So this, and just, you talked about trimming, there will be mowing around the structures, so when we looked at it in the field, it's quite brushy, so we'll have to mow in here. One element that I didn't mention is that there'll be a grounding wire in here, so we'll have to get in closer to the wetland. It's something that, it's helical, they drill it in, and then it pulls up. So.
Okay, is there anyone in the audience for this? This is the N-Star work off Wind Street. Okay, so we have a negative conditional determination. We'll quickly review it and then have a vote. For you.
Yeah, thanks.
Okay, so the project description is 4 poles. Obviously, only 2 of them are in the buffer zone. Tree trimming, but no tree removals are proposed. The work was in buffer zone to BVW and also riverfront to our locally regulated stream. Commission found that the installation of the pole structures would not detrimentally affect the nearby stream of BVW. Because of the time of year, we're not actually approving the exact boundaries of the wetland resource areas, which were flagged, by the way. Conditions, Condition 2 requires the applicant to provide us all copies of correspondence that they have with the Natural Heritage and Endangered Species Program. Condition 3 is regarding erosion controls. We're requiring wattles or hay bales. 4, requirement that any excavated soil be disposed of in a legal manner. 5, no tracking of sediments into the roadways. No filling or grading. No dewatering without prior approval. Number 8, no cutting of trees without prior notification and consultation. 9 is a standard condition about giving the commission right to come out and do inspections, and 10 is the standard condition about noncompliance.
Okay, anything further from the commission? All right, then you have any questions on it? On this?
this is good, yeah.
Okay. Can I have a motion to issue a negative conditional determination under the State Wetlands Protection Act and Burlington Bylaw, Article 14, for the electric transmission right-of-way off Wind Street?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All in favor? 500.
All right, thanks.
We're all set. Good luck with your project.
Yep.
Next is the continued 5 Corbett Drive, Sylvia Shurtick, about cutting trees. Are they here tonight?
I hadn't heard from them, so I wasn't sure if they were coming in. I would recommend you just continue this.
All right, so we'll continue it and put it on the agenda for the next meeting.
Yeah.
All right, next, we're at 4C. Notices given, the commission will hold a public meeting to take information on a request for determination of applicability filed by Joel Luis and will be acted upon by the commission. The commission will take information related to the proposed construction of a residential addition within a 100-foot buffer zone to bordering vegetative wetlands located at 12 Terrace Hall Ave, and will thereafter issue a determination. The application's being heard pursuant to the State Wetlands Protection Act and Burlington Bylaw, Article 14. The application materials available in Conservation Office for public review.
Hi,
Hi.
Joel Louise is my contractor. He couldn't be here today, so I had asked John if I could come in myself.
You must be the owner.
Yes, I am the owner.
You're certainly entitled to come.
Good, I would hope so. My husband couldn't be here, he's in school right now. But we are, as you had read, we are doing an addition. It's a one-floor addition. It's a single-family home, two-level house right on Terrace Hall Ave, but we're only doing one floor. We're doing a foundation. We are within 100 feet of wetlands, but we have put up a silt fence and, anything you need. I'm not sure what else you need from me, but I do have my plans. I have everything. Unfortunately, I have it on my phone. I don't have my phone on me right now, or it's dead, so I don't have that information, but I can get any of that to you at any point in time.
All right, well, the commission was out there, and permission was given to start the work, I believe. So we'll see we'll go around the table, see if there's any questions, and then we'll get you on your way, so to speak.
Thank you.
Eileen.
Well, as Vanessa said, so her contractor came in and realized that there was wetlands in the back. There's wetlands just at the very back corner of the property, perhaps 70 feet from the proposed addition. Just due to some miscommunication, let's call it, he did not get the application in on time, so they missed the December meeting. So we had them install their erosion controls, and we inspected them, and then we let them go ahead with the work at that point, given the long wait and the holiday recess and the fact that it wasn't really the homeowner's fault. I was satisfied with the erosion controls that went up. They are having a bit of a dewatering issue at the moment, as you saw out on the site, but they're dealing with it adequately. I don't have anything else to add.
All right, do you have any concerns?
No.
Okay. All right. Jen, any questions or comments?
No.
Ed, anything further?
The only comment I had was that chain link fence that's in the back there. There's a lot of dumping of leaves on the back side. It's actually up against the fence. Might be something you want to clean up there.
Sure, absolutely.
All right, and Bill?
No, I have no other comments. It's quite a distance from the wetland, and it seems like the precautions are being taken appropriately.
And Indra?
Nope.
All right, is there anyone, I don't have anything further either. Anyone in the audience? This is 12 Terrace Hall Ave? No. Okay, so what we have as a draft, we'll review and then vote on a negative conditional determination. And it means it's a few routine conditions that if you adhere to, which you're already doing, it essentially means we don't expect any impact to the wetlands on the other side of the fence. So we'll review it and then as we review it, if you have a question, you're welcome to say something if you, okay, so,
Okay, right at the beginning, the applicant is listed as Joel Lewis. Would you prefer me to put your name on that?
Yes, please.
It would be better. Okay. The applicant proposes to construct a 12 by 16 addition to an existing single-family house on an existing lawn. No tree removals were proposed. As I explained, the filing history, how we allowed them to go ahead once erosion controls were installed, and the work is approximately 70 feet from the BVW. Hang on, there's my second page. Oh, it's here, that's right. They were just disconnected. The decision is for work as outlined, as we described here. Sediment barriers have already been installed and inspected. All construction or demolition materials and excavated soil should be disposed of off-site legally. No stockpiling of soil within 30 feet of the wetlands. No tracking of sediments onto public roadways shall be allowed, and if dirt is tracked, you just need to keep it cleaned. No filling or grading is allowed under this decision. If you're proposing to change the grade, you need to come back to us again. No rooftop runoff from the new addition shall be discharged directly to paved areas. Debris, sediment, lawn clippings, and landscaping materials should not be dumped in the wetlands. Pesticides, herbicides, and fungicides should not be used within 100 feet of wetlands, and the others are just standard conditions about how we have the right to just inspect the premises. And that the Conservation Commission staff will sign off on your occupancy permit once we have made an inspection, so you need to call us at the end, and the site has to be stabilized, so any grass that's being churned up needs to be replaced, basically.
okay. Do you have any questions about this stuff? It's actually pretty routine, and even if you do, you could ask even after this closes anyway.
Okay. Will the fact that the water, that they're having trouble dumping it out, which I had noticed myself, will that have any impact on finalizing the project?
As long as it's dealt with eventually. I mean, it's being dewatered right now. Has your foundation gone in yet?
No. They just put down the bottom part of it. They were going to pour the foundation within the next 2 days, and then hopefully wait for it to dry.
It shouldn't. Pumping out into the corner was okay.
Okay.
It was all right.
All right. And that was all I had for questions.
All righty. Any comments from the commission?
No.
All right, then, if nothing further, could I have a motion to issue a negative conditional determination for the project at 17 Terrace Hall Ave under Burlington
12.
bylaw? What?
12 to this.
12 Terrace Hall Ave, under Burlington bylaw, Article 14 in the State Wetlands Protection Act.
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All in favor? Unanimous. You're all set. Good luck with the project.
Thank you so much.
Sure.
How do we do that?
You can tell your contractor.
Oh, on the determination.
You did a great job.
Yes, they will. Yeah, may make a motion.
Yeah, when we introduce it. Yeah. All right, next, we are, a request for a minor engineering change, 6 Sunnyside Ave, Lot 2, Mamuna Shah, increase in house size, DEP file number 122-579. Good evening. Good, how are you? Okay, so you are requesting a change
Yes.
over something. Would you like to introduce yourselves and talk?
Sure. So I'm Maimuna Sheikh, and this is my husband. I'm Rabil Sheikh, yeah. So we just purchased 6 Sunnyside Ave, Lot 2, just the other day, actually got finalized. So the previous owners were granted 64 by 30-foot home to be placed there in a specific location. So my uncles are actually builders, so they gave us plans, and we tried to find the best ones that would fit in that dimension. And the best one we could find was with the dimensions that were given, and there was just a 4-foot additional to the back on the left side.
So the plans you bought, the plans that you're building were 4 feet more.
4 feet more on the left side of the house, the back left side of the
Okay.
house.
All right, so, all right, Eileen,
I'll do
John?
this one. So I can't remember, did we email you a copy of that? Or did you get a copy of it in your
I
packet?
don't remember seeing it.
I don't remember seeing
I
it.
haven't seen either.
All right, and I don't see it in here, but I do remember seeing it. So I think I have an electronic copy maybe, because I don't see one in the file. So it's 4 feet, but so the wetlands, if you recall, this is the one where there's a wetland in the front. There's a small wetland crossing for the driveway. It's the house right at the end of Sunnyside, right up by the highway right-of-way.
Yes.
It was,
Yes, yes.
Kurt Young and Wetlands Preservation did it. So the increase in size would be at the rear, which is the opposite side of the house from the wetlands. So it wouldn't come any closer to the wetlands, and it's a very small addition. So it's really minimal and has really no impact on the wetlands whatsoever.
All right, so, and do they have an order of conditions for this?
Well, they don't, so the original owners of the property got an order of conditions.
Okay.
So it's in their name.
right.
Regina Skinner,
All right.
who owned 6 Sunnyside, which is an existing house, which was then divided into 2 lots. So this actually won't be 6 Sunnyside. I'm not sure if the building department has assigned, did they give an address? So this will actually become 4 Sunnyside. But it does have an order of conditions, which was issued.
All right, so it sounds like there's no changes needed to the existing order.
Correct.
All right, so therefore, there's no concern. Any further comment from the commission?
This your first house?
Yes.
Congratulations.
No more comments? In that case, could I have a motion? Is there anyone in the audience that has a comment on this 6 Sunnyside Ave? Okay, could I have a motion to allow the minor engineering change proposed by these folks for the increase in house size as stated for DEP file number 122-579 for 6 Sunnyside Ave, lot number 2? Second?
Second?
All in favor? 500. You're all set. Good luck with the project.
Thank you.
All right, nice to see you. Okay. All right, next, we have some requests for a certificate and release of surety. 4 Burlington Woods Drive, Gutierrez Company. Are those folks here? No, okay. DEP file number 122-526. Did you expect them here?
I can't remember if they said they were coming or not. So this was a project that you issued a certificate of compliance, I think maybe 2 years ago on, and the landscaping wasn't completely grown in, and you deferred issuing the surety until such time that the landscaping was more mature. We did a site visit. It seems mature. I mean, there were places where the grass was still a little skimpy because of probably shade or whatever, but it certainly seems complete and stabilized.
All right. Anyone have any further concerns about the site? Okay. Assuming we vote this, we're doing the release of the bond, right?
Right, there was a
How much is
surety
the
of
bond?
15,000.
How much?
15.
15. I assume you'll be sending them a note or something? Could you send them a note about asking their tenants to have the minor amounts of trash picked up, what we noticed? Include that in the letter.
Okay.
Commission's request, right, guys?
Yes.
All right, could we have a vote to release the bond for DEP file number 122-526 of $3,000, the full amount?
3,000?
15,000.
15,000, oh, 15,000, thank you.
So moved.
Second,
Second.
all in favor? 500. Okay, next is certificate of compliance, release of surety, 64 Cambridge Street. This one's for Herb Chambers on Cambridge Street, DEP file number 122-544. Is anyone here for that one?
Hello, everyone.
Hello there.
My name is Thorson Akerley. I work for Williamson's Barrages, and I'm representing Herb Chambers tonight.
Okay, good. Yeah, you have the floor first.
Sorry.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, so we're continuing the certificate of compliance request here. And as I understood it, you were hoping to see the inspection forms or from the, the previous years that you hadn't received them yet. I know John had told us that he'd got them from, or had found them, rather. But I,
Yeah, we were mistaken at the last meeting. We thought that that Herb Chambers Company had not submitted the required inspection reports, and we were in error on that. We did find them.
okay, good.
Yeah, we're all set. Okay. Is there any concerns left on this site?
So well, the other concerns, well, it was also related to the redevelopment, which is later on. You were concerned about the fence, which you can certainly address during the redevelopment projects.
Right.
NOI. And there were concerns about maintenance of the stormwater structures in the ensuing period since they were installed and now. And that goes for the entire site, not just this filing, but the filing for the original dealership, which still has an outstanding order of conditions that doesn't have a certificate. So I think you could probably deal with it at that time because they are working on hopefully filing a request for a certificate for the original dealership.
Right.
These particular structures, although they probably haven't been maintained, are being dug up anyway and installed as part of the
To make way
redevelopment.
for the new setup for the porch
Right.
part of it. Okay.
And finally, I believe that, did the bond on this expire, I think?
That's right.
So there is no bond release on this. So the certificate, yes, but no bond release. We don't have their bond anymore. From now on, we're getting cash bonds. It's much easier than dealing with expiring paper bonds.
Right.
Cash surety.
We've had this happen a number of times.
Right.
Right. Okay. So could I have, unless there's any comment?
I have a comment.
Yes.
I have watched the December 13th meeting in the video.
All right, so you're qualified to vote.
Vote.
Anyone else?
I also,
Did you watch the video?
Watched the
You
video.
watched the video. Okay, I think everyone's on board. All right, everyone stated that for the record. Could I have a motion to issue the certificate of compliance for 64 Cambridge Street, the Herb Chambers, file number 122-544?
So moved.
Second?
second?
All in favor? 1, 2, 3, 500. You're all set.
I'll see you guys in a few minutes.
All right, hang in there. All right, next is same thing, same item for our 69 Middlesex Turnpike for Kafua Management LLC, DEP file number 122-428. Someone here for that one? It's a Dunkin' Donuts. Hi there. Good, how are you tonight?
I'm well, thanks. I'm Greg Nolan with Kafua Management. I'm also one of the franchisees at the Dunkin'. We developed this site many years ago,
Sure.
and quite candidly, we thought this was closed out, and then Commonwealth Engineering brought to our attention there was a few items that needed to be closed out. We closed out those items. There was some signage.
Right.
As
We
well
we
as,
did see the sign.
Yep. As well as some maintenance records and just ongoing maintenance records. So we had it in place, we just, I guess we just never produced it, again, because we thought it was closed out. So I'm here tonight just to try to close the loop on that.
Okay. Well, it's nice to see you. Okay. John, we were out at the site. Do you have comments?
So a couple of comments. One, the commission certainly noted a lot of trash over the bank into the brook, including a Dunkin' Donuts banner and trash that maybe had originated from other places, but it was on your property. So we did get maintenance records, which showed that the catch basins were cleaned, I think in November, December. Maybe this is a question for, I don't know if David's here on your behalf as well, but it didn't say anything about the storm scepter. It just said the cleaning of the catch basins, and there is a storm scepter on site. And I don't know if that's being maintained by the same people.
I think it included all the structures, I think it said all the structures on site, so I was assuming that it had done the storm shelter as well.
Okay. Okay, and there is a copy of the contract going forward for the same company to do maintenance.
So we have a copy of the contract?
Yes.
Okay. And do you have any objection to the release of bond?
So-
And
So I recommend that you issue the certificate of compliance and release the bond pending a cleanup, and then we'll go do an inspection
and release the
afterwards.
full amount of the bond?
Correct.
All right, so we can have a motion. Is that acceptable to you?
Absolutely.
Okay, so let's make that happen. Any comments from on the right? On the left, any comments?
Just that the trash is an unfortunate side effect of a fast food, any type of fast food operation with a lot of people. They'll drink their coffee and toss it or whatever it might be. It's not your fault that it's there perhaps, but it is your responsibility to keep it clean. So you should have that as a regular cleanup, if you would, please.
We'll make a point of doing that, and just during our travel pass, making sure that's being addressed, on an ongoing basis.
Yeah, we would very much appreciate that, actually. Okay, if there's nothing further, could I have a motion to release a certificate of compliance for 69 Middlesex Turnpike, DEP file number 122-428?
So moved.
Second. All in favor? Okay, that's unanimous. Could I have a motion to release the full amount of the bond after the site management has cleaned up the trash along the bank of the Vine Brook, and the release would be for the full amount of the bond? Second?
Second.
All in favor? 500.
Thank you, we'll address that right away.
All right.
Thank you.
Thanks very much. Have a good evening. Okay. All right, so next, we have 2 and 10 Wall Street. We have Rebel Restaurants Incorporated, DEP file number 122-592. Good evening.
Good evening and Happy New Year. For the record, I'm Frank DiPietro from the BSC Group. With me is Emily Dierig, who is a staff engineer, and she gets to do all the work while I get all the glory and keeps me out of trouble.
Well, Happy New Year to you both.
Thank you. We're here representing client Rebel Restaurant at the 2 and 10 Wall Street. If the commission recalls, when the former restaurant was redone and split into 2 separate restaurants, there were some minor additions made to the existing site plan. There was an added door. Currently, that's the door into the Jack's coal-fired pizza place. There was also a portion of the deck over Little Brook was actually enclosed for bathrooms and things like that. We did put in a recharge leaching basin for the additional roof, and the sidewalk access is a permeable paver material. We added some landscaping. The work has been completed. Be happy to go over any details, but be happy to answer questions at this point as well.
Okay. The commission was out at the site. Eileen, you want to take the lead on this?
This is, just to recap what Frank said, this is a project you issued an order for this 2 years ago. They did submit inspection reports all along as they did the work. They have an O&M plan for future cleaning of catch basins. The work is practically on top of Little's Brook, but the brook seems to have been protected during the whole process, so I don't have any comments or issues with this project.
Okay, no concerns.
No concerns.
All right, is there, on the left, any further comment?
I see only the as-built drawing for 2 Wall Street, and what happened to the 10? Or you had,
So what we've done recently, we've actually done a whole alter title update survey as of last, I think, August for the entire site. We just focused on 2 Wall Street in this as-built plan. We actually went back out, located the building additions and that stuff, and just put 2 Wall Street on this filing for the request for certificate of compliance, because that's really the only work that was done.
I see.
All right, on the right, Jen or Ed, anything further? Okay, then in that case, I have nothing further. So could I have a motion to issue the certificate of compliance for 2 and 10 Wall Street, Rebel Restaurants for DEP file number 122-592.
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All in favor? 500. And Eileen, you're recommending full release?
Full release of the surety, which was 10,000.
All right, we have a motion to release the full amount of the surety of $10,000 for DEP file number 122-592.
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All those in favor? Again, you're all set.
Thank you very much.
The finished product looks great, by the way. I really like the landscaping and everything out front, but the limited space you had to work with, you did a good job.
Pass that on to the owners.
Great.
Emily did some of the SWIP inspections, or erosion control and sedimentation inspections. And just to demonstrate how good she is at her job, in another community, a little bit south of here, she did her inspection last month. The contractor waited until she was gone, and then used a little pump to discharge heavily laden, water heavily laden with silt into a wetland resource area. Unfortunately, or fortunately for the contractor, there was a neighbor who videotaped it all. So, so Emily's put the fear of God in some of the contractors. So, thank you very much.
I thought you were going to say she thought she left something behind and turned around and caught them discharging.
Well, we have suggested that when she does future inspections, she goes, gets a cup of coffee, and comes back a half hour later, just to
There you
make
go.
them honest.
There we go. That sounds like a great strategy. All right.
You
Thanks a
can
lot.
tell, you can tell us offline who the contractor is, so we can,
And we're in the community, you can talk about that later. Thank you.
All right, have a good evening. All right. Okay, next, we have a public hearing. Okay, notice is given, the commission will hold a public hearing, during which time a public hearing will take information related to a notice of intent. It's filed by BAPA Corporation for the construction of an addition to an existing commercial building at 24 Terry Ave. The proposed work would be within riverfront area and 100-foot buffer zone to bordering vegetative wetland under the State Wetlands Protection Act and Burlington Bylaw Article 14. The commission will review all information relative to the application and may issue an order of conditions. The application materials available in Conservation Office for public review. Good evening.
Good evening, Happy New Year.
Same to you folks. Happy New Year to both.
With me this evening, my name is Mary Trudeau, and I'm representing BAPA Corporation, and I have David Romero, who is the project engineer, and we have Gary from BAPA Corporation as well. We have filed a notice of intent for the proposed expansion of existing industrial, commercial-type building located off of 24 Terry Avenue. This site is an incredibly complex site in terms of both the wetlands and the zoning issues that control it. Some of it is due to the irregular shape, it has very limited frontage, it has some severe wetlands constrictions. So when we started this project, we just started looking at each layer of it and seeing how they overlaid and where we got. We started with doing a delineation of the bordering vegetated wetlands and found that the property is almost like an island with access or peninsula off of Terry Ave, and it's surrounded by bordering vegetated wetlands on 3 of the 4 sides. There are actually independent tributaries to the Sandy Brook that impact this property. I've called one the north and one the south. Neither of these tributaries is perennial under the Massachusetts Wetlands Protection Act, but both of them are shown as protectable river front areas under your local mapping system. So we have a 200-foot jurisdictional zone associated with those waterways. Just as an FYI, we did run stream stats on both of these, and the northern stream has a watershed of about 0.16 square miles. The lower stream has 0.06 square miles, both well under the 1 square mile that would be considered perennial under the state act. This waterway to the north actually has a fairly good flow to it, and it's a very wide channel. It appears that there's quite a bit of town stormwater that enters into this swale and conveys flow down through. Both of these are tributaries to the Sandy Brook, which is located further to the south. In addition to the bordering vegetated wetlands and these two tributaries, we also have bordering land subject to flooding, which is the FEMA 100-year floodplain. On this property, the floodplain is located within the wetlands areas, so it didn't have an impact on our development, but it does matter to you as the Conservation Commission. The work that we have proposed, as I noted before, is the expansion of the existing building. We looked at several different options for areas to expand, but as I noted, there were many constraints for this project. And we ultimately determined that the most appropriate and feasible location for the addition was on an existing paved surface, which now serves as both parking and loading area for the project. So while we are proposing a 50-foot by approximately 100-square-foot addition, it's not set on virgin ground, that it is set on top of an existing paved parking area. We are able to use the existing parking surfaces and not have to reconfigure the layout to both access this area and house the parking required for the existing building. The existing building is a combination of office and warehouse space, and the addition will be as well. The addition is going to be a 2-story building with warehouse-type area below and additional office space for on the upper floor for the current tenant, which is doing the business machine, which is also BAPA Corporation, which I think is a little confusing on our application, that I had listed both, they're kind of the same. We did look at stormwater mitigation, and David will get into that with you, but basically we have tried to provide maximum feasible compliance on this site that has an existing parking area and a site with high groundwater and surrounded by wetlands. We were pretty limited in what our options were. And David can speak to, the options that he looked at and what we ended up proposing. But basically, we are proposing subterranean infiltration units to capture the roof runoff from at least the new portion of the building. David, do you want to get into that at this point? Or?
Yeah.
Okay.
So, as Mary stated, so this darker yellow here is the new proposed addition, and under that is actually pavement. So we're going to be replacing pretty much pavement with building. So we have rooftop instead of pavement. So right now, this whole pavement area, the gray area, right now basically goes to a catch basin here in the corner, and then that discharges out to the stream right here, out to the wetland. So this lighter green color, I don't know if you can see that, is actually all wetland, and the rest of that darker green is upland. So right now, there's a catch basin, like I said, it discharges to the wetland and through a stream right here. And this rooftop is also connected to that same catch basin that goes out. So we're proposing to make some improvements. As Mary says, redevelopment. We're doing what we can. I think we met pretty much all the standards that we looked at. We're doing that by infiltrating the existing roof, which used to discharge directly out to the wetland, is now going to go to an infiltration system and then overflow into where it goes now, basically. But we are going to be also infiltrating the new roof, all completely within another infiltration system right here. And we did do test pits with the Board of Health was there as well. And we're also going to remove and replace the existing catch basin. It's not in good shape. It doesn't have a sufficient sump. So we're going to put a new catch basin there with a 4-foot sump. And we're also going to install a water quality unit so that basically all the runoff that comes off this pavement will now be treated, and all the rooftops will now be infiltrated, as well as the existing rooftop infiltrated. So we are making some substantial improvements to the stormwater on site. And I did want to note that the building right now is no closer than the existing building. I know there's a 40-foot no structure, but in this case, the existing building is 30 feet away, and the building will remain 30 feet away. So I wanted to note that.
I thought it was 40.
40, yeah.
I thought it said 40 on the plan.
Right.
Existing?
40 is what you're looking for, but the existing is actually
No, we're looking for 50 and it's 40.
Well, no,
50
there's,
for a commercial building, and it shows the existing is 40.
it's 30 to the lot line, and it's 30 to the lot line and 40 to the wetlands flag 27. Isn't that right?
And-
Yeah,
Yeah, and the existing is to 48.
I'm sorry, what, did I say
You said 30.
40? Yeah.
He's in a residential state of mind.
Right. We have so many, as Mary said, we have so many layers here.
See
It's
here,
30 foot actually to the lot
and from
line.
here to here.
40 foot
Closer to-
is no structure, and it remains 40 foot.
Right.
If these
Right,
flags are
right.
correct.
Sorry about that.
Okay, that's,
One other thing I forgot to mention that may be confusing is if you look on your site plan, there's a dotted line showing additional parking area on this property. We are not proposing to construct that. As part of one of our other reviews, we are required to show that we have the potential to provide a certain number of parking spaces for the area of building that we have. But because we know who our tenant is and we know what their car load is, we know that we don't actually need these spots. So we asked for the ability to show that we could create them, but not to have to build them out at this point in time. That we feel the existing parking area is more than adequate for the tenant that we.
So we're looking for relief from the planning board on that, 3 extra spaces, and I think we're going to get that.
all right. All right, so we have a number of jurisdictional areas to contend with. So could you point out the requirements, the main requirements that are indicated here for us?
Okay, so bordering land subject to flooding is the first one to discuss. On the FEMA map, it looks like the addition would be in the floodplain, but they did a topographic survey, and this section of the FEMA floodplain has an elevation, fortunately, and so they showed where that elevation is on the site, and so the construction won't actually be within the floodplain. But I suggested to them that they might want to do a letter of map amendment with the FEMA, because a lender is going to look at a floodplain map and think that the addition's in the floodplain, and they could end up, having to pay flood insurance. Bordering vegetated wetlands, we haven't reviewed the flags yet. Hopefully, we'll get a chance to next week, weather permitting. Obviously, there's a couple of them that are critical because they're right at, the existing structure is 40 feet from the wetlands and the proposed is 40 feet from the wetlands. So if either of those is off, potentially the addition could be closer to the wetlands than the existing. Just to clarify, so for commercial, it's a 50-foot.
It's 50, right.
But the existing is already 40, so it's no closer than, assuming the flags, we agree with the flag locations. And then finally, the riverfront, the locally regulated riverfront requires an alternatives analysis, which there is an alternatives analysis in here in the NOI. It also requires site improvements, riverfront area improvement, which I'm not really sure if you addressed.
I was considering the mitigation that we were doing for stormwater management to be a riverfront area improvement. If we go out, or if you go out and you look at the wetlands delineation, you might take a look and see, are there any areas that you think could use enhancement? But the site is pretty heavily
Right.
developed, that the parking lot basically goes to the wood line. There may be a small amount of opportunity in this area here, maybe particularly after the infiltration system has been installed, to reseed it with a native mix.
Okay, we'll check that out next week, too.
One suggested improvement might be to pick up the asphalt that got pushed into some asphalt that got pushed into the woods.
Oh, I do believe that there is the potential for cleanup. There's some debris.
So that would be an improvement.
That would be an improvement, you're right.
Yes. Okay.
And then, as already mentioned, certainly the stormwater improvements are substantial. There's currently really no stormwater management on site. There's one shallow sump catch basin, and then it's just discharged to the wetlands. So a lot of the runoff will be routed to the 2 infiltrators, all the roof runoff. And then additionally, the parking lot will have a new deep sump catch basin and a proprietary separator as well. So there'll be substantial improvement to the stormwater runoff, in addition to reduction in rates and volumes as a result of the infiltration.
All right, so do you have any concerns about the
I
project?
don't really. I mean, we still need to walk the site and look at the flags and maybe find some place to do riverfront area improvements. I think the fact that what you just mentioned about the curbing is a good reason to perhaps push for something other than bituminous curbing on the site.
Right.
I know that's what's proposed. I think
It's
Cape Cod
Cape Cod berm right now.
proposed, but the asphalt berm has just been pushed into the wetlands, and it probably will be again in the
It's
future by
essentially been
snowplows.
obliterated.
Yeah, the snowplows would just destroy it.
We could talk to our client about that and see
Right.
what options, maybe in some of the more sensitive areas.
Right. Okay. All right, so on the left, Indra, any questions on this one?
So you said there are two stormwater infiltration unit. So one is for the rooftop runoff.
Right, well, there's one system for the new roof and one system for the existing roof.
So the roof runoff goes directly to that.
Yes, it does, yeah.
The roof runoff is typically clean, but infiltration is a good way of handling stormwater, despite the quality being good.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, Bill?
The infiltration units, I mean, with so much water on site, what kind of depth of groundwater do you have underneath them? Do you have enough to do infiltration?
Yeah, the groundwater was 5 feet down.
Is it really?
Yeah, so you keep in mind that there's kind of a drop-off off the upland down to the wetlands, so we were able to lift the systems up a
Okay.
little bit, so we did get some better separation.
That's not true across the entire site. I suspect if you tried to do infiltration at the south end of the site, you would be sitting in groundwater.
Right, that's what it looked like.
This tributary here, it looks like maybe it has been dredged periodically. You know, there's spoil piles on either side, and that will tend to draw the groundwater down as well, which may be one of the reasons that we did, get a little extra cover at this portion of the site.
So you
Okay,
think,
let's follow up on that. And the 5 feet you said, is that the estimated seasonally high groundwater?
Yeah, right.
Okay, all
so
right.
you think the bottom of that unit would be 2 feet difference between?
I think so, yeah, and I think because it's a redevelopment, it's really the only option we have, the infiltration. So I don't know if the groundwater, again, we didn't see any evidence that groundwater was higher than that, but again, we are providing infiltration for the whole rooftop.
So two things about that. The Board of Health did witness
Yeah.
the test pits. And number two, the 2 feet of separation is what's recommended, but if it is clean rooftop runoff, it's not quite as critical to have the 2 feet because the 2 feet is for really treatment, and if it's clean water, it's not as critical.
Okay.
Right.
I still think it's better to have infiltration even if you don't have quite the 2 feet, just in terms of managing the watershed and stormwater.
It's definitely an improvement, yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, Ed?
That same corner where that drain is, and we're talking about curbing and things of that sort, and the excess asphalt that was pushed into the wetlands, I would recommend a no snow storage sign, so he would see that. He shouldn't be pushing snow in that particular corner. That's the closest point to the river. Right in that corner,
The catch
where the
basin
drain is,
Right there.
way over.
No, to the,
Right,
Or close,
That drain right there.
yeah. That's not appropriate for snow storage at all, actually, the wetlands are right there.
Just something so he would be aware of it, that don't push it the way it, because all the shrubs are just pushed to the side.
Okay. Jennifer?
No, I had several questions, but they were answered by the alternatives analysis that was in the.
My question was about the Cultec units behind the proposed addition there. The other one. Is the feed to that is what? Is that only roof at that point?
That's roof for rooftop runoff.
It's
yeah.
not parking lot?
No, it's not for the parking lot, no.
Okay, all right.
Yeah, all the pavement will go to the new catch basin and then the water quality unit.
Which catch basin does it go to?
The same one that we just, with the snow storage?
All right.
Yeah, that one.
Oh, this one here, right here.
That one, and the water quality unit is located where?
It will be right behind it, so
Right
it'll be
behind
a
it.
treatment train there.
So there's a current drain manhole there.
There's a current manhole and a catch basin.
Right, there was a manhole there, right.
So we'll replace the manhole with the, I think it's a CDS unit we're gonna propose.
Uh,
So you get some treatment, at least some removal of the TSS.
okay. How often did you plan to have the owner inspect those catch basins? Have anything in mind?
I think, no, not really, just to check them probably every season. And just like we normally would, check for the amount of silt in the catch basin. Maintain it,
After-
maintain it if it gets full.
After the winter?
Yeah, it's usually springs, wintertime, or any major storm, that would maybe, if there's any kind of flooding or ponding, that you'd have to do the same thing, check it.
The O&M plan says 4 times a year.
What times a year?
Yeah,
And
it's
just
about
maybe
every
try to
season.
clean it twice,
Yeah.
you know, after the winter to get the sand out, and in the fall, maybe to get leaf litter and things like that, you know, so.
Yeah, we should, the order of conditions should make sure they required to give us a copy of the contract. All right. So depending on the location of the flag 28 is, 28 is critical. So we have to check that.
Well, 28 sets our closest point of the existing building, so 28 and 27 together control the new building.
Right. So,
I think both 27 and
so,
20.
so the closest, your proposed addition is how close to the wetland, to the buffer?
40.
It's
as is-
40.
As is the existing,
All right, so you don't need a waiver, if that was the case, is that correct?
as long as our flags hold up. And you'll notice we cut a little piece of the building off too.
I noticed that.
That's for zoning.
I noticed it got rounded off there.
I know.
Yeah, we found that it was close and we had to make that adjustment to the footprint, just for that
Right.
reason.
Yeah, it makes it a little easier if you don't have to ask for the waiver.
Right.
Well, that's why we have the corner gone, so.
Right, right.
Thinking
Let's
ahead.
see what the flag checking does.
All right. Okay, I don't have anything further. Does anyone else have anything? Is there anyone in the audience for this? Okay, this
Is
is
this the woodland?
24 Terry Avenue.
The flag delineation, are those okay? Did
We haven't checked them yet.
you haven't checked it?
I did have one comment on literature they provided. In your description of work under the wetlands delineation, it kind of contradicts something that's said earlier under your write-up. And it says that 200-foot, locally defined 200-foot stream buffer, as the waterways are not perennial, there is no riverfront area resource associated with these streams. And that's not really correct, because if
There's
it's,
no state-protected.
State
riverfront
protected,
area.
right, but-
I think you call your local something else. Isn't it like a stream protection zone or a stream?
Kid,
it still has the same protections under our
Yeah,
regulation,
your
okay.
bylaw takes
does,
over
right.
that
All right.
omission that the state.
I just wanted to make it clear that that doesn't preclude the same protections that exist under our local as it
And I
does the
gave
state.
you the same state standard step through.
Yes, you did.
Okay,
And we do show it on the plan, the 200-foot, we do show it on the plan, so we
Right.
do acknowledge that.
Yeah.
right.
Only in the writing, it says riverfront, no riverfront, so probably you might take it out. In the writing, in your writing, it says no
So
riverfront.
in the future, I think I will just call them the same thing. It really doesn't make a difference when we get the waiting room. It just,
Right.
See what else is
So,
wrong.
given that it's winter, do we really need to find the whole line?
No, I think we'll just focus on those 2 flags.
Right, that's what I was going to suggest that.
Yeah.
Okay, so you're already ahead of me.
Right.
Okay.
there are other areas that you probably don't want to go into this winter.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay, and, all right, I think I'm all set. Okay, so, the next meeting is when?
24th, January
24th.
24th.
Okay, and will we be able to,
But we could certainly be ready. They haven't even opened with the planning board yet, though, so it might be
Next
better.
week's planning board
Is it?
will open, yeah.
Yeah.
will you, if we can close, would you want to close? Or is it too early relative to the planning board stuff?
No, I think we should close if we can. If you can get out there and see the wetland flags, and I think we should, yeah.
That's fine. We can have a draft ready.
We don't foresee any real major changes.
Okay, well, after the planning board meeting, let us know if you still feel
Yeah,
that.
we'll let you know.
I mean, it's also
Being optimistic.
as complicated as it is under conservation, I understand. It's also,
Very
there's a lot of
complicated.
overlapping zoning issues, wetland zone, town center zoning, and so.
Take the corner off
Maybe.
because of the setback, or the lot line, yeah.
Oh, one other thing. Would you, for the next meeting, before we close, would you take a look to have a little bit more definition on what could be done to improve, for improvements to the wetlands? I already gave you one, which is certainly remove the asphalt that's sitting there. But if you can think of anything else, to put a little more definition.
We can even take a look at this area and see. I thought there was an area that might have the potential for adding some vegetation that is sparsely vegetated, but let me go out and take a look.
That would be
again.
great. Thank you very much. Okay, so we'll see you on the 24th, and unless we hear differently from you, we'll plan to close.
Okay.
Okay? Great, thank you. Okay, so the next thing is a continued public hearing, notice of intent, 34 Sunset Drive. And this was by Hiren Patel, to demolish a single-family dwelling and construct a new single-family dwelling. Hi there.
How are you?
Good, how are you?
Good.
So please introduce yourselves, and we know you were just here. And you have the floor.
Sure. My name is Hiren Patel. I'm the homeowner, or my parents own the home. We've been there for 25 years. So we're planning to put up a new dwelling after demolishing this. Mary probably has more details, might be able to answer the questions better.
And we did a presentation for you at our last meeting, and there were a few issues that John had brought up that we needed to address. One that may have come up even after the meeting was that I had calculated the filing fee without the riverfront area multiplier. So Mr. Patel has taken care of that and paid both the town and the DEP the difference in the filing fee. So we should be set with that. We didn't have a file number at the last meeting, and we have been issued a DEP file number without comments for this meeting. John had also asked me about a little table that I had put into the notice of intent where I had a discrepancy between the impervious cover in the pre-development condition, and I had a math error, that the true answer is 2481 as given in the second part of the chart, should also be matched by the first. And I believe those were,
Yeah, I think we had to make the change on the site plan about the fence.
oh, that's right, we did add a split rail fence as the commission had requested, I believe at the 25? 20, at the edge of your no disturb zone,
20 feet.
yeah. 20.
Did we get a drawing?
Alan Nelson, did he send it?
No.
Oh,
Okay. I think maybe he went to us and
okay, yeah, no, the change has been made on the plan, and we can supply it to you.
Okay.
We thought maybe our surveyor was going to send it, but we'll get it to you.
No.
okay.
All right, so you'll convey that. All right. Okay, Eileen or John, was there anything else that was outstanding on this?
So they did an alternatives analysis. I was happy with that. This project is in bordering land subject to flooding, wetland, and there's riverfront area On site, they are proposing to introduce a Cultec system for infiltration. The only question that still remains for me is that since it's riverfront area, what improvements are you proposing?
As noted in our previous discussion with our last project, there is the opportunity for remediation of the wetland condition, that there's an area of historical dumping on the property. It has mostly lawn debris, clippings, brush, but there are some plastic containers. I think there's a tire, maybe some cinder block that's easily accessible from the yard area. And I believe we had talked at the last meeting about using the excavator when it was on site to just reach in and pull it out, or to take it out by hand if it was smaller. But that would restore the edge of the wetland to a more natural condition. Installing the fence along the 20-foot no disturb zone arguably will help prevent that from recurring, that someone would have to get a wheelbarrow over the fence as opposed to just walking down to the end of the yard at now. We were not removing any vegetation on this side. I think maybe one ornamental tree,
Yeah.
a little pear tree on the site, but we would be happy to commit to planting, a new native tree on the site as a replacement. It's going to be a relatively small yard once the house and the fence have gone in, but we certainly could add a shade tree.
Okay, sounds good to you, Eileen?
That satisfies me.
All right. So is there anything else? The commission have any recollection of anything further?
Same thing, I watched the video of the last meeting.
And you watched the video?
Oh, I
Okay.
meant to ask that before we started talking, because I had done my count beforehand, yeah. So I
Okay,
would-
so we have all 5 votes.
Thank you.
All right. If there's nothing further, is there anyone in the audience for 34 Sunset Ave? Nope. So let's review the draft documents, and then we'll take a vote.
Okay. I'll start with the bylaw, because I like to start with findings. So the findings are, as we described, this is demolition and rebuild of a single-family house within the 100-foot buffer to BVW and within a 200-foot riverfront area to Longmeadow Brook. This gives the filing history of when you filed it. The proposed work was within the 100-foot buffer. The closest point of the proposed new dwelling is approximately 40 feet from the BVW. The Commission finds the wetland delineation is generally accurate. However, the Commission is not officially approving the delineation. Stormwater management, this project is exempt. However, the homeowner is introducing some infiltration. The Commission had concerns regarding the encroachment into the riparian zone. It was agreed during the hearing, well, this was initial wording we had put in here, that a modest extension of the riparian buffer would be restored, perhaps an extra 5 feet. Would you like me to change the wording there, because you're proposing to put the fence at 20 feet?
Sure.
Do you,
No, that's fine. Give them a little more yard.
Change it to 20 foot.
okay. The Commission require the plantings to be limited to native species, which we did discuss. The Commission will require a fence be installed along the erosion control boundary to prevent future encroachments into the wetland, and this may also serve as a permit under the erosion and sedimentation control bylaw. The rest is really just standard information on the rest of this one. No construction to take place until installation of erosion controls, pesticides, fertilizers, herbicides not allowed. And then, I'm not sure if that number is correct, we have to just check that. A cash performance is proposed on our behalf in the amount of $2,500 for the length of the project. And again, the rest of these conditions are standard. The Conservation Commission shall not sign off on a temporary occupancy permit until these listed items have been met, including stabilization of exposed areas, and until the commission or an administrator has inspected the site. I'll move on to the order of conditions. The first several administrative conditions are pretty much as standard, and Mary has seen them all before. Pre-construction conditions, again, also standard. We need to hear from Mary or some other representative before activity occurs on site, and we need to examine the erosion controls at that point, and we will ask that evidence, that the order has been recorded and so on, and the DEP sign is up at that point. Erosion control conditions, erosion controls shall be hay bales or and silt fence or wattles, and we will require an inspection report every week. Okay, materials should not be stockpiled within 20 feet of the wetlands. No dewatering is permitted unless we approve a plan. At the end of the workday, the applicant shall keep the road clean, shall sweep the roadway. We reserve the right to require additional erosion controls. Then we're into work involving filling and grading. No filling and grading is allowed other than what's already been discussed. Pollution control, mostly standard. Cleaning debris. During and after work, there should be no discharge or spillage of fuel. Equipment refueling shall be 50 feet from wetlands, etc., etc. No pesticides, herbicides, fungicides within 100 feet of wetlands. Stormwater management. Rooftop runoff shall be infiltrated on site as shown in the approved plan. A stone infiltration trench shall be installed downslope of the driveway, and this condition shall be noted in the certificate of compliance as existing in perpetuity while the driveway is present. We had proposed some shrubs being planted in the riverfront area. I will remove that. Did we talk about that?
I didn't remember that discussed here today.
Didn't talk about it.
Well, we didn't get the plan, but there's a
Is there-
post and rail fence 20 feet from the wetlands, so beyond that
Are you proposing to
was
put some
lawn, right?
shrubs in?
Yeah, so I think we still want plantings beyond the,
Yeah, restore it, that'd be
Well,
great.
you've asked us to put in 10 shrubs shall be planted in the riverfront area. Maybe just write lower riverfront area. Because the whole site is riverfront
okay,
area.
yeah, beyond the post and
Or
rail fence.
within the post and rail fence or something like that?
Beyond the post.
Would that be easier for you?
Just to remember.
To specify?
Yeah.
Okay,
Because
Okay.
some of it actually may be in the area where we pull the material out of the wetland. There may be a niche there for 1 or 2 shrubs as
Something.
well, so.
planting shall be supervised by wetland scientists, and shrubs shall be monitored for 2 full growing seasons and shall be replaced if they're not thriving. Debris shall be cleared by hand in the wetland, and continued efforts shall be made to remove the invasive bittersweet from the BVW. We had talked about that the last time. And to prevent encroachment, a post and rail fence shall be erected to protect the BVW and RFA. Said fence shall have posts poured in concrete and have no gates to exclude wheelbarrows. And no occupancy permit shall be signed off until, I'm going to add the words 20 feet from the wetland, sorry.
So the fence is 20 feet from the wetland.
Yeah. Got that. And this demarcation shall be maintained in perpetuity. And again, we won't sign off on, this was about the certificate of compliance, which comes way after.
I'm sorry, there was one other plan change that we made that I neglected to mention. You had asked that the driveway not be crowned in the center, but be crowned to tip towards the stone trench, and that change was also made on the site plan.
Can we get that tomorrow?
It's a site plan.
Yeah, can we
Is
get it tomorrow,
Alan
please?
around?
Can I ask one question?
Oh, yeah.
One of the conditions was that debris in the wetland be cleared by hand, but you had mentioned using an excavator if
I
possible.
can add a note, or with small
Okay.
machinery, as long as it doesn't go into the wetland.
Yeah, because we could just reach from,
If you can reach for it, I can amend that.
Okay, anything further from the commission? All right, could I have then a motion to close the hearing for DEP file number 122-620?
So moved.
Second? Second. All in favor? 500. Could I have a motion to adopt the findings under Burlington Bylaw Article 14 for DEP file number 122-620? Second?
Second.
All in favor? Same vote. Could I have a motion to adopt the order of conditions under the State Wetlands Protection Act and Burlington Bylaw Article 14 for 122-620?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All in favor? Same vote. Could I have a motion to require the posting of cash surety under Burlington Bylaw Article 14 in an amount of $2,500 for DEP file number 122-620?
So moved.
Second? All in favor? Same vote. All done.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, good luck with the project, sir.
Thank you.
We're making that plan. I don't know, it's just,
Thank you.
gotta wait.
I'm Mary Trudeau.
Mary,
Yeah.
my wife would love your outfit.
Oh, isn't this fun? I was wondering how it would show up on your television.
Brightens the place up.
All right, I think we just had a fashion moment. All right, next, we're at item 9, a continued public hearing, 64 Cambridge Street, Herb Chambers, grading, parking lot construction, and other site improvements associated with the construction of a new automobile dealership building, DEP file number 122-619. Hello again. I've seen you somewhere before, like about a half hour ago.
So as you guys remember, Herb Chambers is proposing to rip up the nice parking lot they just made and put it in the Bishop 64 Cambridge. In a section in the back, intersects the buffer zone for the BUW that you see off exit 33B. I think there were a couple of issues brought up at last meeting. Well, first is that we got the DEP file number. So that's good. The other being the fence that's there. That is on Mass DOT's land. We reached out to them.
Oh, it is?
Yeah, it is on Mass DOT's land, so we did reach out to them. We just haven't heard back. But Herb Chambers told us that they're fine replacing it. Mass DOT allowed us to, which hopefully they don't have issues with that.
It looks pretty bad, as you may know.
Yeah, I've been there a couple times.
Right. It is.
But they have no problem replacing that. Mass DOT.
That's great.
Yeah.
That's great. Okay. Was there anything further?
Oh, sorry, from us? I'm sorry. No, I don't think there was anything further. Really, it's only a fairly small portion of the site is within the buffer to
Right.
BBW. They're going to reuse the stormwater system on site.
Right.
I don't have any.
They're gonna dig it up
issues.
first, though.
They're going to dig it up and
Then replant it?
reinstall.
Okay.
Yes.
That's the plan.
That's the plan. Right.
Is it the same size or are they adding to it? You adding to it a couple of chambers, or is that the same size? I think they're adding to it, yeah, okay.
Okay, any other concerns?
I didn't have any other concerns
Was
outstanding that
did
weren't
we s-
addressed, I mean.
I'm trying to remember, didn't we see some trash along where that fence goes? Down in there? So would probably love for, while they're hopefully replacing the fence, that they perhaps help us get that picked up. Right? Okay.
Yes.
All right. The commission, anything further?
Same thing, I watched the video, the last meeting.
All right.
And,
Jen, I bet you watched the video too.
I watched all.
All right.
I have a quick question, is, I know that you said the Caltex, there are 2 Caltex units existing infiltration system unit there.
I believe there's one storm tech unit and there's one subsurface infiltration.
And in addition to that, you are adding 2 more?
I believe so. I'm actually not positive if they're adding on to it. I'll double check the detail. Oh, and the other issue was that we added the detail of the silt fence with a 9-inch silt sock. I think you guys asked for last meeting as well. Yeah, the existing Coltex system's right here.
Digging it up from here and moving it over here to get it away from being under the building.
Oh, I see.
I think they're adding a couple of
I thought they were adding a couple of units.
They're adding, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. I think we're okay.
Okay, all right.
Yeah.
I don't see anything.
Okay. So I didn't hear anything further. Bill, anything further?
No.
And Indra, Doe, you're all set?
Yeah.
Okay. And Ed and Jen. Okay, I'm all set too. The record,
So just one other thing. So initially, I told them that don't even bother filing this notice of intent until you've submitted a request for a certificate for the original project. Because the original project was much more impactful to wetlands than this is. It has a giant wall really close to wetlands. There was actually some filling of some locally jurisdictional wetlands, I believe. We don't have that request yet, so I would ask the commission to stress the importance of that, and maybe if we don't get the request, to perhaps pursue enforcement against the applicant for not closing that out. Just
Yeah.
to impress on them the importance of closing out that other project.
Yeah, we're totally with you guys. And VHB had done an as-built previously, but we didn't have an as-built for the wetland restoration area. So we've written up the letter, we've done the whole condition-by-condition review. The last step is going out there and actually getting the area of the wetland restoration so we can show you guys that it was actually done properly. That's the last step. Every other portion of the request is complete.
all right, so your client doesn't take exception with closing this out?
No, they want to get it closed out. We're almost ready to, we just need to get out there. That's either going to be done tomorrow or next week. We realize it should be in by now.
Okay, thank you.
So, yeah.
Okay, good. That's perfect. Okay, so, if there's nothing further, go ahead.
In relation to, when I saw it on the video, you're relating to the assistance you might get from the state of Massachusetts on that fence. If you want to use a example area, 200 feet in the Lexington area coming out from south when you come off Route 3, I used to live there. We, as contractors working in the back of those areas, worked with the state to replace that entire fence. So they do it, is my point.
Okay. That's good to know.
If you need more detail, as an example, get in touch with Ed. Okay. All right, so let's review the documents.
This time I'll start with the order of conditions and maybe skip over some more, since I'm sure Thor's probably familiar with most of these as well. Okay, so starting under erosion controls, we will be requiring erosion controls. You said you changed it to a 9-inch silt sock. Okay, we'll be looking for that. No dewatering permitted on site other than whatever is on the plan. You shall sweep or manually sweep sediments from all paved surfaces daily and protect catch basins within 100 feet of the work with silt sacks. Work involving filling and grading, no additional grading shall be permitted without first running this by the Conservation Commission. Pollution control conditions, these are all pretty much standard as well. Nothing there has changed from the standard ones. Check dams shall be installed every 100 feet along new utility trenches. The removal and reinstallation of water quality units and infiltration structures shall be certified by a registered professional engineer. We are making that requirement. Stormwater management systems shall be maintained in accordance with the O&M plan, and this condition shall remain effective after the issuance of the certificate of compliance. No rock salt shall be used on paved surfaces. No invasive plant species shall be used on site, and this shall remain in perpetuity. And no certificate, the certificate of compliance conditions are just, what is required to get your certificate of compliance. Sorry, am I going too fast? Okay, sorry. Then, moving on to the bylaw. This just states that the project is, as we have described, grading, parking lot construction, and other site improvements associated with the construction of a new automobile dealership at 64 Cambridge Street. Some of the work will be within the 100-foot buffer zone to bordering vegetated wetlands. Then we have the plan references. The project involves work that will occur within the 100-foot buffer zone to bordering vegetated wetlands. We've outlined how you've met each of the stormwater management conditions, including 88% TSS removal. The project does not create any new illicit discharges. I think there's, okay. Sorry, I'm on to page 4 now. Conservation Commission will require weekly inspections of the site prepared using the format on the Conservation Department web page. And we had proposed that, at the bottom of page 4, we had proposed that a cash performance guarantee shall be submitted in the amount of 20,000 prior to commencing construction. If everyone is in agreement with that amount. And that's it. Did I miss something? Did I miss a page?
Pages are a little mixed up.
Oh, I'm missing page. No, I'm not.
No, it's, in total, they're all correct, but you put the staple in the wrong place for too many pages.
They're all there.
Really? Oh, they were like this.
Yeah, you stapled the...
I missed the beginning of the order.
Right,
I'm
the
sorry.
beginning of the order is stapled to the findings.
It was.
Yeah, right. Okay.
But it was all there.
Right. All right, are there any further changes?
Not a change, but I just want to point out one item here, that item 50,
Oh,
In what?
it was in the
order?
bylaw.
Order of conditions?
yes.
Okay, item 50.
The item 50 says that the stormwater management system shall be maintained in accordance with the operation and maintenance plan with appropriate records submitted. That, to our knowledge, was not done previously on the site. The operation and maintenance of the catch basins and things like that had not been done, and the records were not submitted. So I want to emphasize the importance
Weren't
of
they submitted? I
doing
thought
that.
they were.
No, that was the,
No, those
during the
inspection,
construction
those
inspection
inspection
plan.
reports.
Oh,
Down the
okay.
inspection reports.
But
only
these
for
items have
construction.
not been.
Yeah,
You are
so
not-
we should actually require the submission of a maintenance contract prior to the issuance of a certificate of
Right.
compliance.
But I want to emphasize the fact that it should be followed as well.
Right.
I had one question about just operation and maintenance for a facility like this, probably the pre-existing condition where they had a parking lot like that full of vehicles. Just in terms of what kind of flow and materials go into your underground structures. When you have to wash these cars, do they wash them where they stand in the parking lot, or do they take them one at a time to a car wash station?
They have a little facility as part of the main building that's there right now, where I believe they collect it separately from the stormwater structures.
Okay, so it's not 100,
Yeah, it's not.
a couple hundred cars all washed and everything going in the storm?
No.
Okay,
My understanding of
thank
it.
you. I was just curious how that worked.
Good question.
Yeah.
Can I just point out that I neglected to add the standard condition about inspection reports into the order of conditions? We referred to it in the bylaw, but it wasn't actually in the order.
That
So I'm
needs to
just
be
gonna-
added in.
I'm just going to add, so you can assume I have put the standard wording in, just to say that we will be requiring weekly inspection reports, and it will officially be in the order tomorrow.
But the previous project did submit them.
Yes.
Anything further? All right. You know, I'm wondering whether the commission thinks this is a good idea, that we should, this piece of property is like a gateway piece of property. When, you know, one of the ways you come into Burlington is off of the highway, and you come down the ramp. I'm wondering if we should state that that's the commission's view in the findings, and state that the maintenance of it is of utmost importance, and ask and require the property owner to commit to keeping that, you know, the trash and other stuff, help us keep the trash and other stuff out of that area. And I think we should have perhaps an item in the order of conditions requiring them to do this on a regular basis. You don't have any, you don't think your client would have any objection to
No,
that?
I think that'd be mutually beneficial for them and for the commission and the public.
So could we make that, a few words amendment to the bylaw, to the findings, and say it's a gateway piece of property that needs to be maintained as people enter the town of Burlington? And could we also say that, and in the findings, say that the client agrees to help the town maintain that area free from trash, and then put, in the order of conditions, put a requirement that they do that. Okay?
Excellent idea.
All right. All right, good. If everyone's okay with that, we'll do that.
No, it's a major piece of property, both coming in on the highway ramp, you get to see all that, the backside of it, where the trash is and stuff, and the fence issue, and then coming in certainly on.
And in order to get to see the nice stuff, you gotta come around and see all the Porsches.
That's right.
Okay. So if there's nothing further, could I then have a motion to close the hearing? Oh, one more thing. The record needs to show, when we review the notes for the record, that there was no one here for that, no one in the audience for it. A motion to close the hearing, DEP file number 122-619. Second?
Second.
All in favor? 500. Could I have a motion to adopt the findings under Burlington Bylaw Article 14 for 122-619?
So moved.
Second? All in favor? Same vote. Could I have a motion to adopt the order of conditions for 122-619 for the, under the State Wetlands Protection Act and Burlington Bylaw Article 14?
So moved?
Second?
All in favor? Same vote. And could I have a motion to require the posting of a cash surety in the amount of,
20,000.
was $20,000?
So moved.
Second, do we need any discussion on it? All in favor? 500. All right. Thank you very much. Please convey to your client, good luck with the project.
Thank you. And we'll have that COC request in either next month or by the end of this month or early next month.
Right.
For the next meeting.
And would you, those last points that we talked about, adding to the findings and
Yep.
therefore requiring them to do that, please tell him that you graciously agreed on his behalf, and tell him we said thank you. Okay? Okay, so, next on the agenda, we have a few administrative items to go through. Do we have any planning board comments? Do we need to convey anything about which one is going to the planning board? Number 24 Terry Ave.
And also 64 Cambridge Street.
All right, so you write a note on
Yep.
the status?
Yep.
Okay. Subcommittee, staff reports and updates. Anything? Oh, what is today's date?
10th?
We have one more day to submit comments on the open space
Okay.
stuff. I sent a few comments that I made, a few edits. If anyone has any comments on the goals. It was the goals in particular that I think they were looking for comments.
And the subcommittee meets next week for the next step.
You have a chance if there's anything you can think of. Upcoming meetings, January 24th. Anyone not going to be around? Get it to John and Eileen. Okay. And other business, anything under other?
We're still recruiting a conservation commissioner.
We do have one interested party. She confirmed that she is interested, a woman from the Burlington Garden Club.
Okay.
We haven't advertised it or anything yet because I don't have anything in writing from Kerry, so I've got to give the town clerk something before I can actually post it as a, put out a press release or whatever.
Okay. Other business, HMAR.
I did go out there, didn't really see trash. I did see the truck, and I actually took a picture of the truck. But I haven't talked to John Clancy about it yet.
All right.
Other than that, I mean, they probably periodically pick up trash, and it gets dirty pretty fast out there. But the truck,
There was actually some trash on the other side across the road, on the side of their building. would you, when you go in and talk to them, I assume you still got to go in and talk to them?
I'll talk to the inspector of buildings and let him deal with them. He deals with them all the time, yeah.
Would you ask them that we would appreciate his help? Okay, the commission specifically said that. Maybe that will help. Okay. Anything else? Motion to adjourn the meeting, please.
So moved.
Second? Second. All in favor? Very contentious vote.